Welcome to the Two Tokens podcast. During these episodes, we will invite guests onto our show and discuss everything token related. You can expect to hear about token business models, the underlying technology stack, token governance, but also more mainstream topics such as NFTs. Does this sound interesting to you? Then make sure you subscribe and keep listening. And now, on to the episode.
So my proposal is that we go back to this invention of the Bank of Amsterdam to create a better financial system. So, okay, now let's dive a bit deeper in the Token Act. So the Token Act is covering a lot of things. One topic we talked today about is the civil law of tokens. The second topic is the supervision of service providers. And then also, if you issue tokens like an ICO or something, there's a duty to publish basic information sheets. We have also introduced the concept of uncertificated rights on blockchain, so that if you want to issue digital shares or digital bonds on blockchain technology, security tokens, it is possible. It's clarified in the legal system since 2020. And it's used quite often, so it's getting a standard also in Liechtenstein that the issue of digital shares can be done. It's so easy, as you have seen in the presentation of Olivier. It's just pressing a button, then you have your digital shares with a good framework. And the last point is about clarifying the AML issues. Okay, so let's talk about tokenization. We have heard the excellent keynotes before about what's tokenization. So we have thousands of possible applications of tokenization. Of course, virtual currencies are the first and I would say the simplest case. Tokenizing euros is of course it's understandable. It's a natural case coming from Bitcoin, but also tokenization of securities is also a natural case because it's all those things are abstract or not related to a real-world asset. But as soon as we go to real-world assets, like a car, a watch, real estate, a painting, or even a beer, then it becomes more interesting or more complex. It depends on how you want to look at it. So, what is a token? If you consider, if you want to tokenize a car. So, because this is the most important question. So, if you tokenize a car, it becomes obvious that tokenization, a car is a material. It's a physical object, and the value of a car is because I can touch it, I can sit inside the car, I can drive with that. If I have only a digital representation of the car, it's useless for me. Maybe if I have virtual VR goggles and use that, but it's another use case. So. And this is one of the most important innovations we have introduced with the Blockchain Act in Liechtenstein. So we introduced the concept of tokenization of rights. That means we can tokenize property rights, ownership rights, usage rights, the lien, the right to pledge something, transportation rights, etc. So this is the reason why I say tokenization is a legal matter. It's not. Of course, all technology aspects are important. It's important to have a good understanding of technology and to do it properly. But basically, it's about legal aspects and not technology. So with that setting in mind, we can better talk about token economy or the digital economy. So if you tokenize a Mona Lisa, or is it Gioconda? In Netherlands, you say Mona Lisa, I would say, like in German. So we can tokenize the property rights, we can tokenize the exhibition right, the pledge rights, the copyright, etc. And those tokens are then the fundamentals of the digital economy, the token economy. So like the proof of ownership can be made by just showing the ownership right. We can use the tokens for concluding contracts. We can use them for selling transactions, for covered loans, for portfolio management. With the property right, it's possible to invest in a painting also for insurance and transportation chain. So the whole economy that we know today can also be done in a digital manner using the tokenized rights. And this is exciting. And this is what we have seen when we discussed the blockchain case in the working group. And for that we wanted to create a legal framework. And it's the same we can do with the real estate. So all activities we do with real estate can be done on the basis of tokens, using the property right, the usage right, the pledge right. And with the car, and also with beer. So, and when we wrote the law, it was important to always have this case, not because I like beer, but because it's necessary to understand that tokenization is also about everyday asset. Because coming from financial markets and the discussions we have seen about Bitcoin and securities token and everything, there was a tendency to see only the financial market applications. But if we use the standards and the regulation level of financial markets to those kind of applications, they won't be possible, just because it's too expensive, too complex. And so we wanted to find a form of regulation that's the innovation in the real world economy is also possible using blockchain. Okay, and so the next innovation we have introduced is called the token container model. That means with the idea that we can tokenize rights, we can cover all kind of use cases. Interestingly, the empty field refers to Bitcoin and the native currencies, because it's not to say it's nothing, but it's just there's no relation to the real world coming from Bitcoin. So they are fully virtual, and so they have no relation to our existing legal system up to now. So the concept, the token container model, is about representation of a right that we know from our legal system on a blockchain system. So this is, as simple as it sounds, this is just the fundamentals that all tokenization use cases can be covered by the legal system. So now I come to the point that Olivier has covered before. What is a token? From a technical perspective, we have understood. So we have to consider that the term token is been used in a different way. So I use it always from a functional perspective. So, but from a technical perspective, it's just kind of information, or as mentioned in the smart contract, but it's more an IT topic. But this information is stored in a digital transaction system, in a ledger, and can be assigned to a person. And can be transferred from one person to another person. And this is important to understand. This is the first time that the digital information can be transferred, can directly be owned by a person and transferred without an intermediary. So if you look at the banking system, we need a huge organization in the banks that this can be done in a digital manner. With blockchain, this can be done without any intermediary, because the blockchain as such provides this kind of trustworthy transaction system. So the next level we have to discuss is what is a token in relation to this token economy. And now we go a bit deeper into this discussion I mentioned before of this digital economy. So from an abstract discussion, we have several layers in an economic transaction. We have the economic layer, we have always a legal layer, as you have presented before very well, and we have a physical layer sometimes. So sometimes the money is not physical, but sometimes it is. With token economy, we have always also the same layers, but we now introduce, and this is to me is still very exciting, that we introduce a new layer with tokenized rights. So we now have something that has been hidden in the legal layer. That's the transfer of an ownership rights was included in a contract, is now available in an isolated way. so that I have an object, a digital object that represents a right and can be transferred. And I want to add another layer. That means I come now to the smart contract term, as we heard before. Again, the smart contract term is used in 1,000 different matters, and thank you for the excellent introduction to that. With the smart contracts, besides of producing new tokens, it's also possible to, so as you mentioned before, it is a kind of a software program that is deployed on a decentralized computer. So with that software code, it's possible to transfer the rights, these tokens, in an automated way. So it's basically a legal execution layer of a contract. So you always have a legal layer that defines the contract. It's still a concept as we know it today. We have to define this contract, conditions, what we want to transfer. But then we have a new potential execution layer, so we can implement this legal contract in a software code. And this is the execution layer, and beyond that we can use tokens to transfer rights. So in this case of this Mona Lisa, if the ownership right of the Mona Lisa is tokenized, if I want to transfer the painting or the ownership right of this Mona Lisa, I can use those new the settlement layer and the token layer to simplify that and to create more higher level of legal certainty in that transaction. Related to that is the question: is it necessary to regulate smart contract? And that's the reason why I want to expand a bit on that. Some points we have heard before in the presentation of Olivier, but it's important to see that the token, from a functional perspective, can be a smart contract. So this is the NFT example we have seen before. Smart contracts can create tokens, as we have seen before, but smart contracts can define rules for transfer of tokens. And so, if you come to the regulatory question, this here, the first point is covered with the regulation of tokens. So there is no need to extra regulation for smart contracts. The second one is also regulated with a legal regulation of tokens. And the third level, this rules for transfer of tokens, this is not necessary. This is more a part of contract regulation and is covered, at least in Liechtenstein, is covered with the existing laws. The only question that is interesting to discuss, I will come back later if I have time, can a contract be a legal person as such? So there are concepts in this sphere that smart contracts have a own wallet and they can own digital assets. And the question is what happens from a legal perspective. Are they is a smart contract the owner of the digital assets or not? I will come back to this question later. Okay, coming back to the question of what is the use of tokens, what is the benefit? So, just as one example, today if I want to prove if I'm the legal owner of a physical asset, it's not so easy to prove that, as we have heard before. So I basically have to show the purchase contract to show that I'm really the legal owner, or the bill or something, just to prove that. Of course, we have some assumption in the legal system, but the vision of the token economy that I can prove to be the owner of a right just by showing the token. And this is kind of the big vision of the token economy and the exciting vision, so that we create a new level of legal certainty in our digital economy layer. So that means that in future, the idea is that before I buy something, I check if that's the seller is the real owner of this asset by that shows that he's the owner of this token. And then with the selling transaction, I get also the token as a part of this transaction. I will come to that later on because we are it's a transformation to come to that point of legal system, but it's necessary to see this vision. So introducing the token introduces also some challenges we have to discuss, and that's the reason why civil law of tokens is necessary. But at the end, the vision or the promise of token economy to have a higher level of legal security and trust in the digital economy, and also in the physical economy. So, and that's for me also one of the most important points of token economy. So we are introducing a new digital legal layer to the global economy. And as Netherlands have a huge tradition in trade, in international trade, we have discussed about the Bill of Lading, the relaunch. I think this is the potential that we have with this token economy, that we have a global peer-to-peer transaction system of rights that is trusted on the same transaction system. So, and if you talk about Internet of Things, Internet of Machines, Internet of Values, it is necessary to have such a transaction system that this is possible. So, and having this in mind, this was the reason why we regulated the Liechtenstein Blockchain Act, and why the Blockchain Act in Liechtenstein has been defined as it is. So, if you want to compare with the future MiCA regulation that comes from in Europe, it's not, the MiCA regulation is one part of the financial service regulation, just for crypto assets. And the good thing is that we now have a new regime that is made for crypto assets, but it's a financial market regulation. The Blockchain Act was made for the whole token economy, so all kind of applications, and not only for the financial services. So if you look closer, some functions of financial markets services are also necessary for a token economy. So every token has to be created. We often talk about custody of tokens, so also an NFT can be given in custody to a service provider, because we need the legal or the technical security. All tokens are transferred. Some tokens are sold to the public, but not all tokens are sold to the public. I can also tokenize my bicycle, or the property right to a bicycle, and then it's not a financial market transaction. And on top of that, all those economic activities or transactions can be done with tokens, but they are not financial market aspects. Here on top, we come to the financial market aspect, and this is the right observation from the Commission, that financial market activities can in future also be done with patents, or everything else can be tokenized. So it expands the application of the financial market. But we need to find another way to deal with that. Okay, now just some insights in how we did that. So the first challenge we had is that we needed to find a technology-neutral way to define blockchain. And it was also the reason why we had many technology discussions and discussions with the lawyers how we want to do that. And the outcome is that we don't use the word DLT. Or blockchain in our law, so we use the word trustworthy technology, and it's a combination of those four legal terms: so trustworthy technology, TT systems, TT identifiers, and TT keys are the setting that we needed to define a technology-neutral way of blockchain. So if you want, you can compare that to MiCA. The definition, so it's quite similar, but in some details not. And I'm not so really happy with the definition of MiCA, so I still believe that our definition is better, so that we cover all kind of applications in a better way. Because blockchain is only one form of technology in DLT, so we could also use other technologies for the same manner, and so with that definition we could cover that. And now we come to the token, and just to see what is how simple it can be to, with the right setting, to introduce a new element in the legal system. So a token is only a piece of information on a TT system, which can represent claims or rights of membership against the person, rights to property, or other absolute or relative rights, and is assigned to one or more TT identifiers. With that, we have the setting. If you have a closer look, the can is important. This refers to Bitcoin. So this is the empty container. So with that, we can also cover the virtual currencies. One interesting discussion is, but I think I just save that if somebody is interested for the discussion afterwards. Why did Liechtenstein introduce the token as a new element in the legal system instead of adopting the property law? It was also an option, to be honest, but we decided to introduce the token as a new element because it's just. I skipped that discussion. It's it will steal me another 5 minutes, but it's an interesting discussion. So the benefits of this token container model is at that point of time it solved kind of the Gordic knots of this classification discussion we have seen in many jurisdictions. So because if the act of tokenization of something means that the token is considered as a financial instrument, then we can forget all kind of real-world applications. So what we did with this token container model, we said that just a tokenization has no legal effect, but means that it depends on what I tokenize. So if I tokenize a security, of course, all security laws and financial laws, market laws are applicable. But if I tokenize patents, only the IP laws are applicable. So this means that if I have restrictions in the legal system, when I tokenize something that has restrictions in the legal system, of course those restrictions are also applicable on the tokenized version. And this solved a lot, and this was also the reason why this sector could evolve in a good manner in Liechtenstein. And one important thing is also that the relation between the token and the right is clear. This refers a bit to the question I mentioned before, and I come to that. I have one slide more on that topic. So, and if you introduce a new element in the legal system, we have to define the civil law question. That means, is it possible to own a token? This very simple question is what's referring to what we have heard before. To my personal opinion, it was not really safe to invest in Bitcoin if this question was not clarified in the legal system. So, of course, you can own Bitcoin, and in this ecosystem you are acting. If you are buying Bitcoin, this should be okay. But as soon as you need to go back to the legal system, if your wallet is hacked and you lose your Bitcoin, and you want to go to the police or to the judge will say, "What is this? I don't know what Bitcoin is," and then you have a problem. So only for that you need the civil law fundament. And then, is there a difference between possession and legal ownership? Can a token be stolen, of course? Is it possible to transfer a token, to delegate? What are the legal consequences? Is it possible to pledge a token? What about the principle of good faith acquisition? Is it possible to cancel a token? And so on. And especially if you look at tokenization of real-world assets, if I tokenize my house or my car, and consider that the token can be hacked or stolen, if you want to call it like that, then I need a way to cancel a token, so that I can go to the police or to the court and say this token has been stolen, and I want to delete this token, and we need a legal procedure that this is possible. And this is what we introduced with our civil law. One other important aspect is the clarification about possession and ownership. So we introduced the concepts of how this possession of the token is considered in the law. So we introduced the person entitled to dispose over the token and the holder of the TT key. This means that it's a possession. And so with that we could cover from a legal perspective so that a judge can rely on those definitions and say, okay, you are, in the terms of the legal system, you are holding the TT key, but you're not the legal owner, maybe you are a thief. So we can cover that with the legal terms. Okay, then we introduced also the service providers that are necessary if you give your tokens in custody to the service providers, but I think I skipped that. In the current adoption of the law, we introduced, we simplified these two roles. It depends a bit if the service provider is just paying as a having the key in custody or tokens in custody, like a omnibus account. These are the two different forms. We just consolidated them in the current revision because it was a bit too complex for the understanding and it created legal uncertainty. But if you talk about delegation, there are many very important questions to be answered. Like in the case of bankruptcy of a custodian, what happens with the tokens or the keys? If what happens in case of misuse of the power of disposal? What legal proceedings are open to the legal owner? And we introduced a setting of measures in the Blockchain Act that we have the same legal certainty like in the financial sector, like there's a regulation of the token and key depository, a duty to clear separation of clients and own assets, but also the legal clarification that clients' assets have to be separated in the case of bankruptcy. So a judge, if you have a bankruptcy in Liechtenstein with tokens, the judge knows that those assets have to be separated in the case of bankruptcy. And this is just it's the basic. So in financial markets, we know that this is the standard and everybody is trusting. But in the blockchain, it's not regulated. So we needed to regulate that. Otherwise, in case of a problem, it would be just bad for everybody. Okay. Now one short slide about the legal ownership discussion of smart contracts, because the discussion, the question I raised before about is it necessary or is it possible that the smart contract can own assets, digital assets, or how is it treated? With our definition of legal ownership and possession, we can also solve the problem of smart contracts owning digital assets. Because, of course, a smart contract can receive and send tokens according to the software code. So if I create a software that says, okay, in case of some events, you send the digital assets to somebody else, to another wallet. This is possible from a technical perspective, but the question that arises then is, can a smart contract be the legal owner of the tokens? And therefore it's important to differentiate between the legal layer, so the legal ownership and the possession. So as a standard, the smart contract is only in possession of the key and can dispose over the key, but is not the legal owner per se. So legal ownership is something different. So it depends who's has created the smart contract and so on. Basically, we don't need to regulate that because the legal ownership depends on something else. But we know the concept of juristic persons owning something. This is the concept of foundations. So in principle, we could discuss about using the concept of foundations for smart contracts. But this is in the future, and many complex discussions have to be led just before discussing that. But it's not new. But up to now, I didn't see any case that is necessary to discuss that. Okay, now another level, why it's necessary to have a civil law fundament. And so if you consider we now have the real world on the one hand, and in the real world we have the assets, physical assets, maybe a share or real estate, and the rights relating to them from our existing legal system. And then as another layer we have the blockchain system. We now have a tokenized right that is stored on the blockchain system, but is relating to the real world. And there is a need for synchronization, or in other words, to solve collisions between those layers. And for that we need the civil law fundament. So the first question is the owner of a token also the owner of the rights of the real world? So if I tokenize the ownership right of a car, and if I'm the legal owner of the token, it's not necessarily the case that I'm also the legal owner of this car. So we need to clarify that. Otherwise, the bridge is not really there. The second aspect is if I transfer the ownership right token to somebody else, is by that the ownership of the car also transferred, and we need to find solutions for that. And also, if it's necessary to limit the token transfer and so on, there are a lot of detailed questions that have to be solved, and for that we need a civil law fundament of tokens. So, maybe we jump back. So, the civil law of tokens in the Liechtenstein Act is very short. It's only I think 6 or 7 articles and verses about qualification of tokens, and this refers only to the cross-border topics, so that the international property laws can be applied on the tokens. Article 5 is about power of disposal and the right of disposal. Article 6 is about disposal over tokens. Article 7 is effects of disposal, legitimacy and exemption, so that, for example, if you have the voting right or some right to a company, or a dividend rights, that if you pay to this person the dividend that you're I don't know the English word, schuld, is fulfilled, and then you have no duty anymore. And acquisition in good faith is also regulated, and also the cancellation of tokens. So, and it's not really complicated, and you can use a lot of terms that we have known from the financials, as from securities. It's almost the same wording, but it's made for tokens. If you are interested, there is a link into the official translation of the Blockchain Act, and there you find those definitions. So, and now just one or two slides about the problems of tokenization of physical assets. So, let's assume that I go for a drink with a person, and he says, I have a token with the ownership of the Mona Lisa. And so if you want, you can buy it. Okay, maybe it's not a realistic case, but so at least everybody knows the Mona Lisa. So every time if I want to buy a piece of art, a painting, of course, it doesn't depend on tokenization or not. I need to check some simple questions: the authenticity of the image, the value, and is the picture stolen, and so on. So this is not specific to tokenization, but with tokenization, a new level of complexity comes in. That means I have to check: is this guy really the owner of this painting? Does the image really exist? Does the token really represent ownership? Is the token well programmed, as Olivier has mentioned before? The smart contract, the quality of the smart contract is essential. If there is a secret key introduced, that the token can be deleted or invalid after the transaction, it's not worth. So we need to clarify that. And what we did, and this brings us now to the supervision of token service providers. We introduced some roles that are necessary for the efficiency of the token economy. That means we have introduced the physical validator and the token service provider as a role. That means the role of the physical validator is that he has to ensure that the right that is represented in the token can be fulfilled in practice. So in the case of this Mona Lisa, of this painting, if I buy a token with the ownership right and I want to get this painting out of this vault, and the painting is in a vault, then I need, and if the painting is not there, or if I cannot get it, then he's liable. And it's not a question of the seller. It's primarily a question of this physical validator. So I'm very grateful for your examples. So in a token with these links or this additional information, I can put in the link to the statutes or the documents that are constitutional for the tokenization, so that everybody can see the details of tokenization. But I also can put in the link to a physical validator, so that he can say this token is proven by a physical validator, and then I can rely on that. And if it's not working, I know that he's regulated. He has some equity or insurance requirements, and he needs. And the same we did with the tokenization service provider. So the same is for the quality of the token. So he ensures the technical and legal correctness of the token. So in case the token is not well programmed, I can claim him and he's liable for that. So there are different approaches to do that, but this is one that could work. And of course, I can add additional information in the token, like the certificate of authenticity and the certificate of origin and valuation. But this is not the core of tokens, but is an added value to tokenization. So, and in the current adoption of the Blockchain Act, we introduce another measure to increase the benefit of tokenization, or to improve that. So the problem is, if I buy a physical asset, this is what we discussed in the relaunch, but it maybe takes a bit more time. So this, if I buy this apple and I have a tokenized, the property right of this apple is tokenized, I can sell this apple to somebody else and sell the token to somebody else. The problem is which one has priority, which transaction. And usually in the current system, we decided that the physical transaction has a priority, and the tokenized transaction is just a transfer of a selling contract. So I have to go the legal procedures to get my money back, maybe. With the tokenization indicator, or in German it's called the Tokenisierungskennzeichnung, we could put a sign, a mark on this apple with a hint that all the rights relating to this physical item is tokenized, and so everybody that wants to buy this apple can see it and knows that I'm not allowed to buy this, or the other person is allowed to sell this apple, except if I receive the token. And with that, we wanted to integrate another level of assurance for tokenized assets in the token economy. So, what about the time?
We're done. 1 minute.
1 minute, okay. Just in the discussion we had before this seminar, I was asked to just introduce some thoughts about tokenization of lands, because it's one topic that comes almost every month to me. What is about, is it possible in Liechtenstein to tokenize land? No, the answer is short, it's not possible. Because the tokenization of land is, as Frank has shown before, we have this ledger, this public ledger of the Grundbuch in German, where every changing of ownership of land and real estate is written. So, and this has legal force. So if what is written in this ledger has a legal effect. Tokenization could have the blockchain could have the same function as this ledger. But we need to change the law for that. And in Liechtenstein, it's the same as in Netherlands. So the land and the real estate is very important to everybody. So the changing of that needs a bit of awareness building, I would say. So it's a political process to do that. But I'm personally convinced that in some years most public ledgers will be done by blockchain, and then it will be the standard. But it needs a political discussion to do that. But at the end, we get a better, higher efficiency and a better legal certainty because we use this kind of ledger. And the last slide is about the cross-border challenges. So Liechtenstein has regulated as a pioneer the token economy, and of course, if you live in Liechtenstein, that's also the reason why I showed this picture of Liechtenstein. Everything is cross-border. So, and with the tokenization, we can clarify some things in Liechtenstein. And of course, we can do some tokenization examples in Liechtenstein, which are only in Liechtenstein. So if a painting is in Liechtenstein and the token is in Liechtenstein, then it's not a problem. But as soon as we come to the cross-border topics, and this is the real-world economy is much more a cross-border topic than only a financial service application. Then those questions we have discussed before with civil law come again on a more complicated level. So both jurisdictions that are affected have to have the same answers for tokenization. So that's the reason why I was traveling the last 4 years throughout the world just to explain to everybody what the benefit of token economy is, and that's good for the world's economy that we use blockchain technology as a legal fundament, or the legal layer for the economy, because without this clarification on a worldwide level, it's not possible to expand this token economy. And so there are many interesting discussions going on. So we are currently also discussing if this is possible to cover that by this double taxation treaty, or in the digital economy there are some discussions going on. But it will be the future, and some pioneer nations are joining us, and it would be great if Netherlands could join us.
Yes. That was it for today's podcast. Thank you for listening in, and please subscribe so you don't miss out on our upcoming episodes. If you want to get in touch with us, you can find our contact details at www.twotokens.org.